Hello, hi, I'm Lynette. Welcome. So today I am going to be sharing with you my favorite face brushes. I recently did a video of my favorite eyeshadow brushes, and I asked if people were interested in seeing my favorite face brushes, and I had quite a few people say that they were, and so here it is. So I'm gonna go through all of my face brushes, and this one was pretty easy, but it was difficult in that I included probably all my brushes. Well, not all of them, but a good majority of them, because I have a lot of face brushes that I really like. And so yeah, I think you'll be surprised at how many affordable priced brushes that are in my collection. So I have a little mix of high-end but I think more affordable brushes. So yeah, I'm going to give you options in several different categories: powder brushes, contour, foundation brushes. I'm going to break it all down and give you several different options. I hope you enjoy this video and find it helpful. So let's get to the brushes. Okay, so I have broken down the brushes into categories, and I'm going to start with foundation. And as you'll see, they kind of all, the brushes I've chosen kind of all look pretty similar in the way that they're constructed. So I'm going to start off with the oldie and the goodie. And it's, you know, it's a legend, it's an icon. It is the Sigma F80 flat kabuki brush. This brush is going to run you $25 from Sigma, and I've had this brush for many years. Sigma was the first brush set that I ever purchased, and that was many years ago. And as you can see, this brush is still in great shape, and it's exactly what it says it is. It's a flat top kabuki. It's densely packed but very soft. And yeah, so when I don't use foundation brushes typically. I primarily use liquid foundations, but when I use a powder, on the rare occasions that I'll use a powder foundation or cream foundation, I like to use a brush to blend it. And so this is the brush that, one of the brushes that I like to use. So the Sigma F80, $25. Also from Sigma is the F82, and it is a round kabuki brush. So instead of being flat and straight across, it is rounded. And I actually prefer this brush. I mean, just for no reason, it's just my personal preference. But you know, as you can see, they're very similar. Again, short bristled, very densely packed, but very soft. And this brush is also going to cost you $25. Sigma often has sales anywhere from 20 to 30% off, so you'd be able to get this brush at a discounted price at some time during the year. And then finally, in the category of foundation brushes, this brush is no longer available as far as I know. It came in a holiday set from Tarte, and it is the Tarte, well, I'm calling it the Tarte holiday brush. But as you can see, very similar to the brush heads on the Sigma brushes, this also is another flat top kabuki, but just with a shorter, fatter handle, and again, very soft. And this is actually probably, I was gonna say my favorite, but definitely, like all three of these, I like the same, really. This one, for some reason, I always end up hitting myself in the face. I don't know, but I like this brush too. I actually like the handle. It's very easy to use. The next group of brushes I'm going to be talking about are powder brushes. Now, every brush that I show you in this category, I use for both pressed powder and loose powder. So I use these brushes for both. I switch them up, I alternate them, I use them for both. But there are some brushes that I prefer to use with loose powder, and I'll use them more often with loose powder. And then there are the brushes that I prefer to use with pressed powder, and I tend to use them more with pressed powder. But again, I use all these brushes for both pressed and loose powder, especially when my brushes are dirty. My favorite to apply powder is also from Sigma, and it is the large powder brush from Sigma, the F30 brush. And this is the one that I've had the longest. Again, it came in my very first brush set from Sigma, 6-7 years ago. I can't even tell you how long ago. Now, this is the brush that I bought several years ago, and this is the brush that they now sell on Sigma. And Sigma is the same brush, but Sigma has different ferrule, so you can get them in the gold ferrule, you can get in the silver ferrule. I think they also have a rose gold ferrule, but as you can see, there is a little bit of difference, which I'm just now noticing in the handle. So the original F30 brush that I bought several years ago, as you can see, has a longer, slightly longer handle than the one you currently can buy from Sigma. And this brush is a little more fluffy. It's the bristles seem to be just a tad bit shorter than the current F30 brush, and it's a little more fluffy. They both have the pinched ferrules here at the top, and then they get more fluffy as you move on to the bottom. But again, this one is fluffier, and this one not so much. This one also seems to just have more bristles in it than this one. I prefer the original F30 brush, and thankfully these brushes, the quality of these brushes is excellent, so I've been able to continue using my original F30 brush for years and years and years. Very, very soft. Again, I do use it for pressed powder, but I really like it for loose powder as well. But it's definitely a brush that I do use on a weekly basis. I used for pressed powder. And then this is the current F30. This brush retails for $30 on the Sigma website. And the more I wash it, the more fluffy it becomes. Still not as fluffy as the original, but it's getting there. And again, I use both of these brushes on a weekly basis to powder and set my foundation. Another brush that I like to use for powder is this one here. This is a Sonia Kashuk brush. Yes, this is the large powder brush from Sonia Kashuk. Can you believe it? Hi guys, I had to step in here to let you know this brush has been discontinued. I got it confused during the video. This brush is no longer available. Sonia Kashuk does still have a large powder brush. It's a different design though. It looks like it's really nice also, but this brush is no longer available. This is a really nice brush. I like a big-headed fluffy brush for loose powder, and this fits the bill. Next is a brush from Morphe, and this brush has been discontinued. When doing this video, I went to look up all the brushes and come to find out that some of them have been discontinued unbeknownst to me, and this is one of them. This is the Morphe G0, and it came from their gunmetal collection, which evidently they no longer have. The brush is clean, but it is stained. I've had it for a really long time. One of the few brushes from Morphe that has not fallen apart on me. But again, as you can see, it shares similarities with the other powder brushes. A big head. This one is really rounded, densely packed, very fluffy, and very soft. So again, I use this for pressed powders also, but I really prefer to use it with loose powder. Now we're going to move on to the brushes, the powder brushes that I prefer to use with pressed powder. And my favorite brush for that is from BH Cosmetics. It's the V1 Vegan Large Powder Brush. You saw this a couple of summers ago now in a haul video from BH Cosmetics. Actually, it was a haul brush video from BH Cosmetics, and I have several of these brushes. This brush only costs $6, and BH Cosmetics always runs sales. They were having a sale just a couple of days ago for 30% off, and the brush was $4.20, which I'm sure is what I paid for it. And again, a big head. This brush is loose. I have like 3, maybe 4 of these brushes. I like it so much. I love the look of it. It's just a really pretty brush. But one of them has fallen apart on me. The handle separated from the ferrule. This one too is also loose, but I did, actually this is probably the one. Yeah, because this looks like glue. I did glue it back together and I just kept it moving, and I might have to glue it back together again. But I mean, for $4.20 on sale, hey, I can't really be too mad at it. And it has the long bristles and the big fat head pinched here at the bottom, and then gets bigger and fluffier at the top. And this is really nice. I like a dense brush for pressed powders, and this is fluffy and dense enough to where I can tap it into the pressed powder and then tap it onto my face. I like to press the powder into my face before I start buffing, and this brush does it all, and for very, very little money. Next is another very attractive, sexy, sophisticated brush. And you might be surprised to know that this brush comes from Sonia Kashuk as well, and it is just called the powder brush, and it's $9 from Target. And yet again, a more short bristled brush. So this brush has shorter bristles probably than any of the brushes we've seen thus far. Two-tone bristles, which I like. Again, dense but very fluffy and more on the flat side. It is rounded, but the head is more on the flat side, which makes it really good, again, for tapping into, or stamping really, into pressed powder, and then pressing into my face, pressing the powder into my face so that I can set my foundation. And just a really, look at this brush, just a really, really nice, expensive looking brush. No one would ever know you only paid $9 for it. And then last but not least, in the powder category is a brush from Tarte. This is the Powder Player Bamboo Pressed Powder Brush. And it actually says pressed powder on this one. This brush retails for $20, which I think is actually a really good price. When I went to look up this brush to find the price of it, because I've had this brush for a couple of years now, probably more than a couple, and it has a bamboo wooden handle, very nicely constructed, has the gold ferrule. And this brush has so many bristles. I mean, just look how dense this brush is. It's got the round but more flat top, so it's rounded, but it's not completely flat like a kabuki brush, but it's pretty flat. And yeah, it's a nice brush, perfect for pressed powders, and you can stamp and blend as well. The only problem with this brush is that this is, now for me, this is the perfect constructed pressed powder brush, and I was surprised, but it's so accurate that they call it a pressed powder blush because it's perfect for it. And as you can see, the other brushes I like to use for pressed powder, you know, they all follow similar look as this brush. The only problem with this brush is it's scratchy. And when I first bought it and first used it, it was very soft, and I used to just massage my face with it long after my my foundation was set because it felt so good. But as the years have gone on, it's become quite scratchy. But again, it's so perfect for pressed powder. It's my ultimate perfect pressed powder brush. I continue to use it, and I still had to include it in my favorites. I wash it with Castile soap, the Dr. Bronner soap, and it has some oil in it in the hopes that it would help soften it up, but not so much. Now when I do it like this, I just washed it, so maybe it softened up even more since the last wash. So when I do this, it feels really, really soft. So who knows, maybe the next time I use it, it won't be as scratchy. But yeah, this, aside from the scratchiness, this would be my perfect pressed powder blush, and for $20 it's really nice quality. Okay, the next up are the setting powder brushes. I'm gonna call these the under eye setting powder brushes slash highlight brushes, because these are the brushes that I like to use to set my under eye concealer. And I also will use them to do my highlight. I will also have highlight brushes included here too, but I wanted to separate these. These are the ones that I primarily use for setting my under eye powder, but you know, they also double as highlighter brushes. So the first one I'm going to talk about is they're the same brush, but as you can see, they're very different. They're from Real Techniques, and it's called the setting brush. And this is the new Real Techniques setting brush, and this is the old setting brush. Both of these brushes, well, this one they don't really sell anymore. This is the new version of it, but the current version sells for $8. So as you will see, the handle on this one is dirty. Because this is a soft touch. This one is too, but I've had this one for many years. So this is the first setting brush that I purchased from Real Techniques. I don't know how many years ago. And as you can see, it's a flat brush, tapered round at the top, but still kind of fluffy. And this is, because it's flat, this is great. And the size of it is great for setting the concealer under my eye with powder, and that's primarily what I use it for, but I also use it for highlight as well, because it's also the size of it, and again, the flatness of it makes it really nice for that as well. And now this is a more recent brush that I purchased from Real Techniques, and as you can see, they have changed it up a bit. So it's still the same length, but the head and the bristles are different. The bristles are still about the same length, except the old version is a little taller. But as you can see, the new version is a lot more fluffy. And I was kind of annoyed at that. You know, I hate when I have a brush that I love and then the brand goes and changes it. Like, why? It was perfect before. But actually, I do like this brush more than I did when I first purchased it. The fluffiness is quite nice for setting under eye concealer, and that's primarily what I use it for. You could use it for highlight as well, but this one I generally use just for setting my under eye, and yeah, it works really well for that. So, and then I have a newer addition to my collection, and this is from Profusion, and it's their flat setting powder brush, the PD5, and you will have seen this in a Get Ready With Me that I did not that long ago, where I purchased some brushes from Profusion. They now make brushes, and I purchased a few of them, and this was one. And this one will cost $5. They're very reasonably priced. The whole brush collection, I don't think there's any brush in the collection that costs more than $7. This one is $5. Again, it's the newest addition to my collection, so it's only been washed the one time. It's already stained, but very similar to the Real Technique brushes, where it's flat but fluffy and rounded, not as tapered but rounded, and very good for setting the under eye. Now if you have a small eye, this might be a little big, might be a little too fluffy for you, but I think for a lot of people, for me anyway, it works really well for that purpose. So for $5, and it's a good looking brush. It's got a soft touch handle and sort of like this rosy silver like ferrule, so really nice attractive brush. Has not shed. I've washed it once. I've experienced no shedding, and it's very affordable at just $5. Now on to the contour slash bronzer brushes. These are brushes that I use for both contour and bronzing. Aside from the powder brushes, this again is a category with a lot of brushes in it. because hey, I have a lot of bronzer and blush brushes that I like. So the first one I'm going to show you is now discontinued. This is from Sephora. It's a very recent addition to my collection. You saw it in my recent stuff I'm liking right now video, favorites video, and then you saw it in a haul video. And this brush, I have two of them. The original retail price was $38. I got it recently. I bought another one. They had all of their pro brushes on sale. I got this one for $17, and at the time I figured all the brushes were on sale, and some of them are still on sale. This one though is no longer available. I figured that they were either discontinuing them or revamping them, and so yeah, they've come out with a whole new pro collection. They look very different from this collection, but I'm glad I was able to snag this one, and at $17 too. The second time around before it was discontinued. And this brush is really quite different than any brush I have in my collection. Again, it's pinched. It has a long handle. It's got the pinched ferrule here at the beginning of it, and then it's a paddle brush basically, but it's got a rounded. It comes out here and then it goes around. I don't know. It's a definitely shaped unlike any other brush in my collection, but it's a nice paddle brush. It's fluffy. It's super soft, and I like the shape of it because you can precisely apply your bronzer or your contour, and then you can easily blend it out. So I really like that. Really nice brush. They still have this brush in the travel size. It's the 50.5, and it's $20. And I also have that brush as well. Actually, that was the first brush I purchased, and then I liked it so much I went on ahead and bought the full size. So they still have the travel size. It's $20. It's the same brush, just, you know, the handle is much smaller. The head's a little smaller, not that much smaller, but still a very nice brush if you are still interested in this one. Next is from Tarte. It's the Swirl Power Contour and Bronzer Brush. And it retails for $34. Another brush with a wooden handle, and this is unlike any other brush I own. I don't own any brush that has a handle quite like this, and this one is definitely yeah, you could tell from the shape of it. It's more straight across, up and down, but look how fluffy it is. I was concerned when I purchased this brush that because it was too big and too fluffy for me to apply contour or bronzer, especially contour, because I have to be really precise where I apply my bronzer and my contour because I have aging, sagging skin and I don't want it to go too low on my cheeks. But this is a great brush, actually. Now that I've used it, I have no concerns about it. It works wonderfully. It's so fluffy. If you want to do a more defined, harsh, I guess, contour with it, you can, but it's so fluffy that you don't have to, and I don't. I like to blend it out and get a much more natural contour, and you can do that with this brush because it's so fluffy. And because it's so big and it's so fluffy, I mean, putting on contour or bronzer takes like seconds. You can do your whole face in seconds because as you're applying it, you can blend it all at the same time. And this is a really nice brush. Again, the bristles are so soft. That's what made me buy it. The bristles were so soft. And yeah, $34 from Tarte. Next is an oldie, but another goodie, also from Sigma. And it's the F23 Soft Angle Contour Brush. This brush retails for $27. $7. And I remember Jaclyn Hill long time ago when I was still subscribed to Jaclyn Hill. And this was in her pre-Morphe days. This is when she was still repping Sigma. And the first time I saw her use this brush and I saw the way it hugged the contour of her cheek, and I was like, up. I immediately waited, of course, for a sale and then purchased it. And I've never looked back. I actually have more than one of these brushes. That's how much I like it. Very soft. This is an angled brush. I don't really much care for angled brushes, but this one it just fits the curves of your face so well, and it's made exactly for contour. And yeah, it's perfect for that. So again, another brush where I can place my contour pretty precisely, and then it's fluffy enough and super soft to where I can blend it out and get as defined of a contour as I want, or as natural and soft as a contour that I want. So yeah, this is really lovely brush. Okay, we got some more to go. We got more to go. This is the newest addition to my collection, and you've seen it in a recent video. I don't remember which one, but this was, I think, in my recent Get Ready With Me video. This brush is from Royal and Lane Nickel. It's the Omnia BOM 35 contour brush. You can purchase it for $14.99 on the Royal and Lane Nickel website. This is a natural hair brush for $14.99. Not bad at all. I bought this brush because of Kelsey, Brianna J, and Mel Thompson. They talk about these brushes. Kelsey actually has a video up now with a review of all of these brushes that she got from Royal and Lane Nickel. So yeah, those two are the reason why I bought this brush, and so far so good. I've had it not for very long, actually. Just washed it for the first time, and it's holding up pretty well. I mean, I've lost some bristles. It has shed a little bit since I started using it and since I washed it, but for the most part, still together. Very attractive brush. I'm loving the gold here, reminding me of James Bond Goldfinger. And then the head. So this head, as you can see, kind of similar to this head, and except that of course it's not as big, it's not as long, but pinched, right? See, it's kind of flat, but really fluffy, and I just love the fluffiness. Short bristles, and it's super soft. And yeah, there goes some more bristles. So I have experienced shedding. Apparently I'm continuing to experience some shedding. So I really like the brush thus far. Again, I've only had it for a very short time, only a couple of weeks. So the jury is still out on the quality of this brush, but so far so good. And I really like the shape and the size of the brush head. So far so good. $14.99, natural hair. Oh Lord. Another brush that I like to use for contour, not bronzing. For me, it's a little too small for bronzing. It's actually maybe a little small for contour too, but again, because I like to be really precise with my contour, a small brush works for me. This is from BH Cosmetics, and it is the Studio Pro number 3 brush, and it retails for just $5. Yes. And again, recently went on their website, 30% off sale. It was retailing for $3.50, which I'm sure is what I paid for it. Soft touch handle and a smaller, much smaller brush, but fluffy, round head, and really nice for very soft. Really nice for precise contour. And yeah, I've washed this brush several times. I've had it for quite a while now, for a couple of years now, and it's a good little brush. It's held up very well thus far. So if you're looking for maybe a smaller contour brush and you don't want to spend a lot of money, for $5, catch it on sale. You can get it for even cheaper from BH Cosmetics. Actually, BH Cosmetics sells a whole line, a collection of the Pro brushes, and I really, really, really like them. And then last but not least is another brush from BH Cosmetics. This is from the Crystal Quartz collection. So you can only purchase it in the set, and the set retails for $29, and this is the number 4 brush because it has the number 4 in it. And you saw this in a haul video, a couple of years ago now. I hauled actually some of these Pro brushes that you just saw and will be seeing, and this brush set in that video. And I'm surprised that I like this brush. I'm gonna be honest with you. This brush, as I said, comes in a set. So the set contains face brushes and eye brushes. And I recently decluttered all but one of the eye brushes, not because they are bad quality. They're just, you know, they just were not my preference to turn in the way that they're made and they were shaped. But I've kept all of the face brushes. I like all of the face brushes, and I use all of the face brushes. And I'm really surprised at how much I like this brush. Different from a lot of the contour brushes you've seen, but does have that similar shape of some of them that you did see. Pinched, kind of more flat but fluffy, but more on the flat side. Goes straight across. This one is bigger and fluffy to the point where you can do a really defined contour if you like, but you can also blend it out and do a much more natural contour, which is what I like to do. And this brush is really soft. I mean, you know, when you break down the kit, you get several face and eye brushes, and you get a really, really cute carrying case. I mean, when you break down the cost of this brush, it's a really nice brush for what you pay for it. And the quality seems really good. Again, I've had it a couple of years. I've washed it a few times and haven't experienced any shedding. Maybe initially when I first got it, but no shedding since then. Synthetic bristles and very attractive looking as well. So really, really, really nice brush. All right, the next category of brushes I will be talking about are the brushes I use for a blush. And my absolute favorite brush of all time for applying my brush is from MAC, and it's the 120. This brush is no longer available from MAC. As you know, they no longer make natural hair brushes. They have converted to all synthetic brushes. And I don't even think they make the 120 anymore. I think they have you know, they have other blush brushes, but I don't think they have specifically the 120 brush anymore. But I had to include it in this video because it's my absolute favorite blush brush, and it's a natural hair brush. And I've had this brush, oh my god, I can't even tell you how many years I've had this brush. And it's pinched, and it's just the right shape, it's the right size for my face. It's a really great brush. Over the years though, I have found that it has become a little more scratchy. I will say that. But even still, it's still my favorite brush. The size, the shape, it's just perfect for what I need. I'm going to show you another brush that is no longer sold, and it is the Cheek Color Brush from Laura Mercier, and this is the travel size. I got this. I bought a travel case from Laura Mercier years and years ago, and some travel brushes came with it, and this was one of them. It's also a natural hair brush, and yes, very, very small. It's the smallest blush brush I own, but again, something about small blush brushes I like because of the fact, like I said, I have aging, sagging skin, and I have to place my blush precisely, because if it's too low, then it just, you know, it just brings my whole face down, and my face is already down because of my sagging, aging skin. So I like a smaller blush brush. This is the smallest one I have. It's super soft, and I can precisely put my blush where I want it to go and blend it out. So I love this brush, and even though it's a travel size brush, I still use it on a weekly basis, and when I travel, I take this brush with me. Okay, enough of the brushes you can no longer get. Let's move on to, oh no, not true. I think this is the category of brushes where a lot of the brushes I discovered that I really like are no longer available. And this is one of them. This is the Morphe E34. Morphe no longer sells this particular brush. They do have another new version of the brush, and it retails for $19. And yeah, so I won't spend too much time on this, but again, a bigger, fluffier head, but still not super big, and it's dense, so I really like this for my blush. One of the few Morphe blushes I really like that hasn't fallen apart on me. But this one is actually, I think I glued this one back together, if now that I think about it, because it was loose at one point, so I think I had to glue this one back together. But it's so good that I went on ahead and I did that, and so far so good. So now on to brushes that you can still get. And one of them is this one, and it's from Sonia Kashuk, and it's just simply called Blush, and you can purchase this for $9 at Target. A small fluffy brush with medium length to more short length bristles, super soft. It's a little pointed, it's rounded, but it's a little pointed. And again, I like the size of it, like the look of it, but I love the size of it. Fluffy, soft. I can precisely place and blend out my blush, so really like this. Last but not least in the blush category is the most recent addition to my collection. It too is from Profusion. It's the round tapered PD8 brush from Profusion, and it's $6. Again, very attractive brush. Small. This one here probably has the longest bristles. Well, maybe not the longest. My MAC brush. Okay, it's not the longest, but it has fairly long bristles. Around it, tapered here at the top, but round and fluffy. And yeah, this is a nice brush actually. I really like it. Very soft. And again, if you are someone like me, or you have a small face, you don't have a lot of cheek area to work with, this is a nice brush for someone who wants or needs a smaller brush to apply your blush. And we are finally at the end. The last category, the highlighter slash under eye setting brushes. Some of these are great for setting your under eye, but these are the brushes that I prefer to use for highlighting. And my favorite brush to highlight with is from Sigma. Probably no surprise there. It is the F35 tapered highlighter brush. It retails for $25. Again, I've had this brush for years and years. I don't know why I only have one either. Probably because it retails for $25. But Sigma often has sales, so you can get it for less than that. And this is a brush that, you know, I loved. I'll put down, I'll buy new brushes, I'll fall in love with those, and then I always come back to this brush and then just realize again, over and over again, just how much I love this brush. So it's my favorite for applying highlighter, and it's got the long bristles, synthetic long bristles, but tapered right here at the tip. And I usually use it on the side like that, and I can put my highlighter exactly where I want it to go. I like to be precise with my makeup application, doesn't everybody? But yeah, so this brush is just perfect for that. This is a great brush. Again, the quality, I've had it for years and never shed it, and just has not fallen apart. Just Sigma makes some really great quality brushes. People always ask me, like, what's so great about the Sigma brushes? Are they really as great as everyone says they are? And I mean, with the options that you have right now, there's so many brands making really nice quality brushes. But yeah, Sigma for me, the quality is just like I said, I've had these brushes for years and years and years, and they still look exactly as they did when I first purchased them. So for me, that's what makes Sigma brushes so special. So my favorite. Next up is a brush that I do have several of, and this is from Eco Tools. It's their highlighting fan brush. And you can no longer, when I looked up this brush to find how much it costs, I found that you can no longer buy it individually. You can only buy it in a set with another brush, and that set will cost you $11.99. You can buy it from Ulta. Can you get it from CVS? Can you get it from CVS individually? I'm not sure, but I looked online and I didn't see anywhere where you could buy it individually. You have to buy it in a set with another brush, and it doesn't look exactly like this brush anymore. But yeah, I have more than one of these brushes. When I first purchased this brush, I think it's the only fan brush in my collection. When I first purchased this brush, I was concerned that it was just too big and too fluffy. Look at that. to apply my highlighter, precisely. But actually, it's really nice, and I find that there's a lot of highlighter fan brushes on the market, but they tend to be either really small or really thin. None of them are this fluffy. And after using this brush for so many years, I just can't get down with a really thin, flat highlighter fan brush. I've had some and I've tried them, and they apply just too starkly and too defined for what I like. This, I'm able to do a much more natural application with it because it's so fluffy. I usually just pick up the product on the side like this and then just place it, and I like to sweep it around my eye in a C shape. And yeah, it's super soft, and I really love this brush. It's got a wooden handle, and $9, well, $11.99 if you buy it with another brush. But really, really nice brush. I've had it for a long time, and it's still together, hasn't fallen apart, hasn't shedded. A really good quality brush for an affordable price. And now another good quality brush for not so affordable price. Well, it's an affordable price, I guess. It's just that I don't know. These Milani brushes, this is from Milani. They all seem to be overpriced to me. This is the all over blending brush from Milani, and you can pick it up for $8.99 from Target. And I love the look of these brushes. I love the two-tone bristles. I like the shape, how it's flat but fluffy. It's just, I don't know, I just feel like for $9, it's super, super light. It feels cheap. It looks expensive, but as soon as you touch it and you hold it in your hands, it's like super light, feels cheap. But again, a nice brush, a nice sized brush, fluffy enough to where I can place my highlighter and then blend it out for a natural look. I like a natural highlight. And yeah, you could pack this on as much as you want or as little as you want and blend it out. So really nice, really soft, but I think it's overpriced for $9. I wouldn't buy this for $9. I'd catch it on sale. But if you do pick it up, it's a nice brush and one of my favorites for applying highlight. And last, I'm not gonna say least, but last is another brush from Profusion. And this one is the PD4, the small tapered powder brush. So you saw the large tapered powder brush, the PD5. This is the PD4. And as you can see, it's very similar to the Sigma F35 brush. It's a little longer. The handle is soft touch and it's tapered. It's a little sexier. The head is not as tapered, but it's got the long bristles just like the Sigma brush, and it's more round and not as pointed or tapered. But again, a recent addition to my collection, but it's nice. It's nice you could use it to set your concealer under your eye, or you can use it for what I use it for, which is to apply highlight. And yeah, so I like this brush, and this brush is only going to cost you $5. So if you don't want to spend $25 for the Sigma brush, you can get a nice comparable one for just $5 from Profusion. So that is pretty much like the majority of my face brush collection. I mean, I have some others, but that was most of them. So I hope you found this video helpful, and let me know if you'd like to see any other favorites, like favorite concealers, favorite foundations. I think that's it for brushes. I mean, once you do eyeshadow and you do face, that's pretty much it. So let me know if there are any other makeup or beauty product accessories you'd like to see favorites of. If you liked this video, then please give it a like and consider subscribing, because I do makeup related content, hauls, swatches, tutorials, and reviews here on my channel every Saturday. I want to thank you for joining me today. I hope to see you again next week. Until then, bye-bye.